The ever so depressing story of Chainsaw Man. We're back at this nice series that I have come to really enjoy, but at the same time has brought me much depression. I think this chapter just had a very nice level of looking into Denji's mind, and not in a way of like some deep dive psychological kind of grasp, but really the revelations of what his life is like now and really what he has looking forward to him. So you have Kishibe and Kobeni. I'm happy Kobeni's there. I kind of wish that they let her just go home and go to sleep or something, or go hide. But you have like them all just in some like secret area underground, and like, you know, just some hidden off room. It's just got like a TV and like a chair and probably some like general food supplies and stuff. I'm willing to bet Kishibe knows like all these different ways that are going to keep him secret. Like if he brought them somewhere, I'm betting it's secured. I don't think that Makima is just going to instantly show up. I think that she would have to go out of her way to kind of locate them, use some power. Just because one thing about Kishibe is he's not dumb. He's definitely very skilled, very intelligent in his whole trade of like devil hunting and pretty much everything in surviving. So I would willing to guess that he's gonna be good here. But now they're like, okay, we've got a situation. We got to figure out what we have to do and what we're going to kind of like do against Makima. And I liked Kobeni when Kobeni was like talking about how she can't talk to her family, and she's like, oh, for the rest of my life. And Kishibe's like, probably not. You're not going to be able to. And she found it as relief. So we've never met Kobeni's parents, and I don't know if we will. Like, it was one of those things of, I thought Chainsaw Man would, my guess of Chainsaw Man's length was like my original guess was like 230, 240 chapters. I think it'll go maybe around to like 140, 150 now. I really can see like after this arc, it'll be like just going into hell to get power back. It'll probably only take like a year or something. I don't expect it to be crazy and like, but if it was longer, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe we'll get Kobeni's backstory and maybe meet her parents and see what's going on there. A flashback is probably the best we'll get now. It's never been an important thing of meeting them. I think it's always been more of important just of seeing like what it's done to Kobeni. And I like Kobeni. I've expressed it before. I'm hoping she makes it to the very end of the series. But her, like, here, she's like, oh, well, thank goodness. She doesn't have to deal with them anymore, because we know that from the start, they've always been, like, they've always had heavy stress on her. Like, she's joined the Devil Hunters to make money to, like, help put her brother through college, because her parents, like, have all this, like, bigger ideals of her younger brother and how smart he is. So Kobeni always seemed to have gotten, like, the short end of the stick, always getting screwed over. So I'm happy to know, like, even if it's a little bit of a dark scenario she's in, she's definitely relieved. And I think that the stress coming off her is something that probably just brings her general great joy. Like, she's always sweating. She always looks nervous, like she's about to fall apart. And after, like, hearing that she can't talk to her family ever again and they can't get in contact with her, she just seems like she's just in, like, a weird kind of cruise into you know, a weight off her shoulders. Like, she's just starting to realize that she's like in a, things are dangerous right now, but there's something that's just been riding her for so long that's finally gone. And I think that it's nice for her, even if like I said, they're in a dark scenario, like they are in this setup where Makima is after them. She gets to have this happy kind of like sight in her head that she doesn't have to deal with probably the thing that's brought her the most stress in her whole life, and it's just all of a sudden gone. But I like the exchange between her and Denji, because she's talking about like how she's still scared of dying, but at the same time, like, she's envious that Denji can come back to life, because once Kobeni's gone, it's over. Like I mentioned in some of the other videos, there's still a possibility Aki's alive. If he's a hybrid, kind of like Denji, that's still a possibility. Who knows if that's true? He could easily just be as dead. Power is a devil, so even if this power goes, when she ends up back in hell, she will just be the blood devil again. She'll sort of be dead, but we didn't know if there was a possibility of her ever regaining her memories. Like, that was one of those things where it's kind of like a little bit on the fence too. Kobeni, though, doesn't have any powers, you know, that would let her live in any way. So if she dies, it's over. And I've liked Kobeni like being part of the story because she's not like a lot of these other characters where they are like Denji has like crazy powers that he's almost immortal. Pretty much, he's pretty much immortal, and you know you have like all these other guys with like a couple screws loose and vendettas against devils and find throwing their life away and stuff. Kobeni just seems to have constantly getting wrapped up in things she doesn't want to have to do, and it's always really dangerous for her. We still haven't found out what her devil contract is, by the way. I'm really curious if we're ever going to find that about. But her kind of being afraid of death, I think, is just really nice for her side of things. But Denji kind of looking at it and giving her his side of things, where it's like, even though he's immortal, he sees it as like he describes it as like his heart is at the bottom of like a toilet full of shit. Like he's just not having a good time, and even if he can come back to life, it doesn't mean he's happy. Because all these like all the good and bad feelings, everything that he's experienced happened up until now, from you know Makima getting him all the way into like this chapter, has all been planned. It's all been something that somebody set up, and it's not real. It's sort of kind of manufactured, like he said. It's very weird to think about, but he's just kind of like going over things like, you know, he's like, oh, I'm not very smart, but still like everything that I didn't really figure out like has led me to this, and it's just all getting crappier and crappier. He's just having this looming depression, but at the same time he's like, that's something that I've always dealt with, and it just made me happy. One thing that he's always had good food, like he's just eating lunch and just chilling. And while Kobeni's talking to him, she's like, that's normal. Because think about Kobeni's life, and in a majority of lives in the Chainsaw Man world, because they're constantly getting attacked by devils, crazy stuff is constantly happening that's terrifying to them. And there's good and bad things, and I think that Denji in this chapter, I think, has a really big revelation on exactly just his life. Because well, she's like, there's no such thing as a life free of bad things, like except in your dreams, except in like the great things you pursue, like what your personal goals and aspirations are. Everything else is kind of like comes with good and bad. The good things are what you make out of them. And I think Denji realizes that this chapter. I think this is just a really big chapter for Denji to get a grasp on his life. And he's kind of just trying to figure it out, but he's like, I just wanted to have to be normal. And Kobeni's like, you wanted to be normal? Like, there's no way for that even to happen. But at the end of the chapter, I think with the TV, they're essentially just talking about the Chainsaw Man and everything he's done, and people seeing him as a hero. And I'm curious as to what that'll really end in, because we know that devils are, you know, they get their power from fear, and all these people are now not afraid of him. They're happy for him. I'm curious if he's going to somehow be able to get a power from that. Like he's able to kind of like get an emotional drive that'll, you know, drive an inferno essentially inside of like his whole being in order to get stronger. Like if there's going to be something he knew he's realized, because Denji here, I think, is gonna see, like, even all the bad stuff that's happened to him, he's done a lot of good. Denji has done a lot of heroic work. I like that it was set up to Denji being laid out as the hero was actually dangerous for him, because, you know, it weakened him and it made it so Makima could defeat him. But here I see Denji having some big kind of, you know, like I said, revelation in his mind of, even if he has had a rough time, he still had good parts in his life. It just comes with the good and the bad. That's just how life is. And seeing all these people cheer for him on TV, I think that he's gonna have just like a good feeling like inside of what he's done. Other than that, I'd be like, what can he do to kind of fix this problem? Is he gonna have to go on like a killing rampage? I don't think so. I like that Denji is this kind of deep melancholy, partially saddened, just odd hero. Like he does good things, but he's just such a weird, depressed guy sometimes that it just adds like an extra layer onto who he is. But I really like the whole part with Kobeni's talking about how life is both good and bad events, and I think that's gonna really help Denji, because Denji, for up until now, I think would only see like the good aspects of life, of like what he wanted and what he was striving for. Where even if, you know, you go towards that, there's always going to be some bad things that happen, especially in this world. So I really can't wait for the next chapter. This was really just a sit down and chat chapter. There wasn't any action. It was just getting things set up and stretched out, and I really look forward to what's next. Anyway, other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, prefer the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.